You guys, I just watched the fourth episode from The Witcher, and I, well, first of all, I had this sense of satisfaction, and I decided to stop for now, for today, with that one episode because it was so nice and so much to take in. Fair warning, there might be some spoilers. I never know what constitutes a spoiler for others because I love spoilers. I love knowing in advance what happens. So, yeah. But anyway, I've done my job. I've told you. If you haven't seen the episode, if you haven't started watching the series, maybe consider skipping this. But if you'd like to hear my thoughts on the episode, keep listening. Um, so this was the episode where they did the Dooney story, and to that I will say that it is exactly the way I pictured the scene as I was reading the chapter from The Last Wish. And to be fair, I was picturing the guy to be far uglier. In my mind, he looked far more hideous. He looked cute. And there was a moment at some point where you could see Queen Calanth look at her daughter and you could see her think like, oh my god, I can't believe that my daughter is a monster fucker. What the hell do I do? Because as we've seen, she was pretty hostile to the guy in the beginning because he just sprang it on her like, hey, I'm here to take your daughter's hand into marriage, and that might not sit well with you. But I really liked Queen Calanth in this episode. I liked seeing her in armor. I like the fact that she's a warrior queen. Maybe um it's hard and it's conflicting because she's also a racist and she murders elves, which is definitely not the nicest thing to do. Like, let's not be the kind of person, who says, genocide, schmenocide, like Idris Elba's character in Hobbs and Shaw. Let's not minimize that. It's a big dark spot on somebody's character. However, I was pretty shocked. This episode was far gorier and far darker than the previous ones, even though it had so much comedy. It had so many light elements as well. One of my favorite scenes were the scene with Jaskier and Geralt. Geralt being in a bathtub and Jaskier asking him if he lets all strangers put chamomile on his butt. And that's a scene I would like to see, not like the aftermath, but I guess this is what we get. And Jaskier is really starting to grow on me, and it's hard not to because he's very, very cute. And I think he's growing on Geralt too, even though Geralt would sooner die than admit it. Um, I don't know. The fact that Geralt was bathing in something that looked like a barrel instead of a tub was so funny. Like you could picture that big ass man like folding himself to fit in there. Hilarious. Also, I absolutely love the fact that Netflix allows their actors to swear. Wow! Hearing Henry Cavill say fuck so much is delightful. Like, this is a part of Europe where swearing and cursing and all sorts of bad words are allowed. And whenever American personalities, actors, musicians come over and are invited on talk shows here, first thing they do is ask if they can take the opportunity to curse. And they do. And they enjoy it because this thing with think about the children has ruined media for all of us. Like, kids learn about the word fuck when they're about 6 years old. So I don't know why we're just playing pretend that we're being virtuous and protecting them from the evils of the language. Like, I think it's far more detrimental to children to expose them to evils such as xenophobia, racism, transphobia, so on and so forth, than, I don't know, having them say fuck when they stub a toe or something. Cursing is not the problem with the world today, trust me. It's the last on our list of worries. But other than that, like there's an instance of cannibalism in this episode, and even though it's a ritual cannibalism, like it was still disturbing. I remember a critic at some point who got an early a bunch of the episodes. They were sent out to certain critics for early reviewing, and they mentioned that there was a very touching scene with Yennefer on a beach with a baby. And I have to say, I was not as touched. I was very touched by Anya's delivery of her monologue in that scene. And it was a beautifully put together scene. But I have to say, it is 2020 already, or almost 2020. But we have to move on from making every powerful woman's internal conflict revolve around babies and having children. In the previous episode, we've seen Yennefer willingly and quite gleefully give up her uterus in order to gain absolute power and to be a great sorceress. You can't just up and have a regret not being able to have babies, and I hope they're not going down that route because it's a cowardly route to take and it's unoriginal. A person can still be considerate, compassionate, mothering, nurturing without being a mother themselves. And I think Geralt is like that too. Geralt is a very loving person. He's very forgiving, he's very compassionate. He is often the one person who's like, let's ask questions and not kill first because that's gonna fuck shit up in an irreparable way. And everybody's so bloodthirsty and set on shedding other people's blood and not looking at evidence and shit. But Geralt can be incredibly insightful and compassionate, and like I said, he can have qualities that you would expect you'd find in a wise matriarch who's seen it all. But going back to my idea, I hope they don't make Yennefer's story about her wanting to have kids, because it would be a great disservice to all the women who do not wish to have kids, because they exist in large numbers, and many of them succumb to the incredible pressure that is put on women to conform, to have babies, to make themselves small in favor of the men who demand that of them. There are lots of doctors who won't perform elective sterilization surgeries on women, no matter how old they are, no matter how prepared they are for such a surgery. Because what if they change their mind? And if we always tell only the stories of women who change their mind, like the moment it's definitive, the moment a person loses the uterus, they should not have this all-consuming desire of using their uterus, because some people are capable of being happy and enjoying a full life without having children, and that is a fact that is inconveniencing to a lot of people, and that is unbearable to think of, but it's a fact. And like I said, it's cowardly to insist on building women's narratives around children. I, for one, would love to see the the media I love and celebrate doing better than that. I think that there are a lot of strong women recently in beloved stories that got a lot of attention and a lot of media pull lately, that were robbed of a great satisfying ending to their stories because it was always undermined by this perceived flaw of theirs of not having children. And I think it's a pity because we don't do that to men. And yeah, science has already proved that there is no such thing as a maternal instinct. There is only deeply internalized social pressure. We have expectations of mothers. We demand that they act in certain selfish and selfless and self-sacrificing ways for their children. And we deem them selfish if they do not act like that at every moment of their lives. So it's unfair. It's very unfair. And what can I say? I have high hopes for The Witcher. I hope that at least they will make their stories more nuanced and not just she wants a baby, he wants coin. That was their story. However, I would like to go back to the heart of the story, who is Geralt, and how much I enjoyed him in the Sintra scenes. He was fantastic. I will show that scene or those scenes to everybody who insists that Henry Cavill is not a great actor, because god damn it, he is. And I wish that people could put aside their unbridled thirst for a second and look what a treat this guy is when he's on screen. He's so expressive, and he captures the essence of Geralt so well, especially in those scenes. He's capable of great snark. He's capable of great humour, very subtle, very, very juicy. And I don't know, I'm floored. I was so delighted. So delighted. And, I'm usually a very salty person, but I was so happy for Henry in those moments when I was watching those scenes, because it was like, guy, it is so obvious that you're enjoying this, that this is the world you live in, and that this is what you really want to do. Because he's basically glowing when he's Geralt, and it's so amazing to watch, which is great. And I've also decided that listening to Geralt's lines at the banquet before shit went down, I decided that if you take Geralt along for a rap battle, he might just destroy your opponent. Wow, he's capable of such shade. Such shade. I enjoy that so much. Geralt was my favorite character almost immediately as soon as I started reading the books and watching my housemate play the games. But I did not expect to enjoy Geralt in the series this much. I knew I would like him because I have a big soft spot for Henry. But this episode was so fucking fantastic. And I know that there's going to be motherfuckers who are going to complain and they're going to find something to bitch about. But that's a they problem, Henry was flawless. Everybody was flawless in this episode. I can't. It's just no words. And it's very rare that I don't have any words, because I usually have a lot. So yeah. I see that my cat went to bed. I managed to annoy him or bore him to sleep. So I'm going to end here, and I hope that tomorrow I get to see at least another episode, if not two. However, this was a review, a very excited review and not very drunk review of episode 4 of The Witcher. I hope you've enjoyed the episode as well. Feel free to comment if you have something to add, something to call out, or I don't know, something to say about my very, very excited and incoherent review. So that's it. Bye for now.